That's why I put it on vibrate. Where your music?
Food, fashion, finances, and fitness. You can get that all right here on Tuesday Tidbits.
Hi, I'm Betty. Hello, everybody. Happy Quarantine Tuesday. I'm just going to mute my computer so I can make sure it's no background coming in because I want to look at your comments. How's everybody doing tonight? I don't know how many days this is of the safe at home. I have stopped keeping track. Thank you all for joining me, those who have joined. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tammy Moore. I am the Diamond Diva of Diamond Residential Mortgage, and this is Tuesday Tidbits with the Diamond Diva. And on these lives, we talk about everything regarding fashion, fitness, faith, food, and finances. And tonight we are going to be talking about the Clark Sisters movie. I was excited to see it. It was amazing. And I have a million takeaways from it that I wanted to just talk about it. If you guys saw the movie, I'll put it in the comments and I'll be looking over here for it. If you had a chance to watch it, if you did not have a chance to watch it, this is going to be a spoiler. So I hope you get a chance to watch it. It was very good. It broke records with Lifetime, the most watched, which is awesome. It was necessary. It was good, and it was a feel-good movie, especially for us being on lockdown. So let me close my door. Hold on. It just seems like when you get on here, you can hear every little thing. You guys might not be able to hear it, but anyway. So the first thing that I want to say, you guys know I had a public service announcement last week. I'm excited today, so we're going to have some fun today. So last week was kind of heavy, talking about all the COVID assistance and stuff. Hey, Camilla. So how's London? How are you holding up with the kids and homeschooling? So this is what I want to say before I get started on the Clark Sisters movie. I want to tell y'all something. Sit y'all butts down somewhere and stay at home. We are, at the rate that we're going, we're never going to get out of lockdown. Everybody is all over the place. Y'all still having gatherings. You still going where you're not supposed to be going. Sit down somewhere and be obedient. Y'all know the president is crazy. He don't know what he's doing. Every time somebody makes him upset, he pulls funding away from something. So we need to do our parts and stay at home so that we can not have to be the mask bandits going out and everything. So just sit down somewhere and stay at home. And in addition to our health issues as African Americans, hey Karen, in addition to that, our health issues, we're just disobedient. I mean, we just, want to bend all the rules and go out, and ain't nobody going to tell us what we can do. Well, in this case, somebody needs to tell you to sit down. So that is my public service announcement for this week. Sit down somewhere so that so outside will open up by summertime. I mean, please. So we're going to be on lockdown. I like to feature a Black owned or small boutique in my lives. And today I have on a t-shirt that says, "But God." It was made by Shawana Logan, and I tagged her in the video. It's rhinestone blinged out. Y'all know I love bling. And this hat is from Cosimo's boutique in Houston. It's an online boutique, and they actually had a store in Houston. It's Black owned as well. When I went to Houston for a seminar, I stumbled upon them, and I've been ordering stuff from them ever since. So I want to get into the Clark Sisters movie. I got all glammed up a little bit for y'all today. I didn't put no makeup on, but I tried to put a little hat and everything, some glasses on today to get all cute to talk about the Clark Sisters movie, because they didn't have to do anything. And this is my knockoff, my casual knockoff to their last outfit in the movie when they did, I think it was, Blessed and Highly Favored, when they all came back together. So, first of all, tell me in the comments what y'all thought about the movie, and then I'm going to tell you all of my thoughts about it. I have a million things to say. Hey, Venus. Oh, yeah. Camilla, London is bossing everybody around. I know she running things. So the first thing that I want to say is kudos to the to the actresses, but kudos to Ajane. She killed Miss Maddie Moss. Dr. Maddie Moss Clark. I've seen a lot of footage of her, and I also, back in 2008, I've watched it several times because it has come on over and over. I watched the Unsung of the Clark Sisters. It came out in 2008, but they play it over and over, and they were talking about how strong their mom was and everything, and I thought that she did an amazing job. I thought that Kiki did an amazing job playing her mom. It was cast very well, and kudos to them. I love the Clark Sisters. First of all, we, as the Vessels of Praise, if you guys don't know, I'm a praise dancer, and we minister a lot of their songs. And actually, those songs are a few of my favorites. Blessed and Highly Favored, we minister that, and we also minister one of Karen's songs, Speak Lord, God is Here. So I was so happy to watch the movie and to see something good. And you know what? We have a story to tell. And it's just awesome to see their story come to life. And the first thing that I have on them is for kudos to them for sharing their story, and not the world is already. Why do we fact check everything? I've been seeing all this stuff online where Black people are fact checking everything in the movie, just like they did on Self-Made. We know that Self-Made, they had to dramatize it a little bit to make it exciting, but you take the meat and spit out the bones. I think I read as somebody posted today, but it's just allow us to be great, allow the story to be told, and appreciate their struggles and appreciate their transparency. That's what I took away the most from, is that I remember I was watching something with Chris Rock years ago. I don't remember what it was, but I think he was on Oprah, and he said something that stuck with me. He said, "Secrets rot the soul." And that just stuck with me because it is so true. As a community, there's just stuff we never talk about. We take to our grave, and what happens in this house stays in this house. But I always look at stuff that if God brought you through it, it's a testimony to him, because he doesn't want you to keep it to yourself. And if you notice in the Bible, a lot of times, a lot of people were saved by the testimony of other people that actually encountered Jesus. So I was just so happy to see them be so transparent, the good, the bad, the excitement. They were so talented, and to just, bear everything out on the screen, I thought it was amazing. So, right, that's right, Karen. I mean, it's like it was a story of Madam C.J. Walker. We know that Annie Malone was the bomb too, but it's like it wasn't an Annie Malone story. It was Madam C.J. Walker's version of that. Was her side of the story. Now, if they want to do a movie on Annie Malone, great. But I just thought it was simply amazing. It was well put together. Kudos to Lifetime. And as you see, they have a lot more movies coming out. So I'm going to get to my points. I typed all of my points out because it so much went through my head when I watched it. I overanalyze everything, but I just got so much, had so much new appreciation for them, for what they shared. So this is what I wanted to. This is how I'm going to start out. First of all, Dr. Maddie Moss Clark was a boss. Okay. Back in those days, women were to be seen and not heard. And, she had already, even before she got married, had gold records that she had to hide. I'm going to get to that later. But she was a boss. And bosses create more bosses, and bosses develop leaders. And that's exactly what she did. And I was just so moved by her determination that she knew that she had a gift. She knew God had given her a gift, and she was not going to let nobody dim her light. And, it broke my heart when she sung with her daughters at the Grammys, and then they threatened to take her position, which I heard that they eventually did make her step down from that position. But there's something about a woman that puts her children first, because we all know that is not always the case. That is not always the case in blended families when you have a new husband and you have children, had children before you got married, and then, something is not going right. And she put her girls first. And so I think that the respect level for her, being a single mom, and especially back then in the Church of God in Christ, that her girls, they knew that they had to stick together to, some of them had to stick together to make the Clark sisters what she wanted them, and she knew that they could be. So, wait a minute. For some reason, my comments are not coming up here. Is what she wanted them, and she. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm seeing all the comments. But she was a boss, and she was a boss back then. The other thing that I wanted to say about that is that there's a lot of, I'm talking about Seekers Rot the Soul right now. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in houses that people never talk about, and especially men of God. That was, of course, we all know that that's not a unique situation. That happens all the time. And women will tend to sweep it under the rug because they don't want to embarrass their husband, or they don't want to, ruin the church or have him lose his position. So, I just thought that it was so well done, and it was pure and honest, and I appreciated that. And the other thing that I wanted to say about her husband being a little bit jealous, because he was jealous of her, and people go through their little emotions, but there was a whole nother way to make that work. But he was completely jealous of her, and nothing new under the sun, still happening. But I thought about the Proverbs 31 woman, and I thought about that whole scripture. That woman was a boss too. It said that she sold her linen, and it said that her husband was known because of her. And to me, this is my interpretation. I could be wrong. You Bible scholars, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But what that said to me was, yes, you are your husband's helpmate, but you serve a purpose as well. And he had a first lady that was not only smart, intelligent, talented. God had equipped his whole family with everything that they needed for ministry. He had a musician, he had singers, he had willing vessel as a first lady. A lot of churches don't have that. They have one or the other. And he could not appreciate that for his own pride. And as you know, pride comes before the fall. So I just thought that he missed the opportunity to help support them. And, that was then. I'm sure later on in life, maybe he had regrets, maybe he didn't. I don't know the man, but I'm just speaking on how I would have felt. He missed the mark to be a leaning post for them, and instead he was more of a stumbling block and caused them a lot of grief. But she moved on. It put her girls first and all of that. But like I said, back to that Proverbs 31 woman, it says that your husband will be known in the gates because of you, which means you got to bring something to the table too to make your husband look good. And I think he just missed that whole point. So drama in church hurt is real. We all know or have experienced church hurt. And what do? I think it either makes or breaks you. Yes, Deborah, you're right. They did tell her pride comes before the fall. But Deborah, it was their pride that it was. She wasn't being prideful. She didn't even ask to sing with them. They asked her to sing because that was her vision. That was always what she wanted, was to get nominated for a Grammy or perform at the Grammys. And it finally happened. And there she had to be shamed for it and, scolded for it. And, but I was so glad and was like, yeah, when she went back and told them how she felt, because the ministering to people is not just inside the four walls. And if we have not learned anything else being in this quarantine, we have learned that you can minister anywhere, on Facebook, in the grocery store, in your car, anywhere. So you are the church. So she was exactly right that that's what she was supposed to do. She was to go out into the world and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so, again, I think the men missed it. And, I mean, how do I say this? It's still happening now. We have some churches where they don't want women to be preachers or, and all of these things. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not on that. I think God can use anybody. I think God can use anybody. And I think that is more of an ego thing than a God thing. I'm just going to say that. I really do. Because I've heard some women pray a man under the table. And I've heard men pray and pray amazing. But it's what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And if you are lifted up in pride, God going to bring you right back down, whether you're a man or a woman. So I just think that's something that, all of us need to seek God's face for that, because as I said, back to Proverbs 31, she did everything. She cooked, she worked, she sold things, which means she did stuff outside the home. And it said her husband was great because of her. So had he had dimmed her light, he would not have been known in the gates. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I did see in the movie, I don't know how true to life it was, that the dad was at the funeral. So, and I did read some things that Kiki said that he was always just, papa or whatever to them. So they never treated him any different. They loved them both equally. And leads me to my next thing. You only get one mother. You only get one mother and you only get one father. And the Bible says, honor your mother and your father so your days may be long upon this earth. And let's just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room before I get to anything else. Baby, when Twinkie's boo pushed Dr. Clark down, that wasn't a big red flag. That was a big red siren. I mean, it's like we all know what's going to happen after that. Because if you disrespect, your mother or somebody else's mother, the rest of y'all ain't got nothing coming. So that part of the movie, I've been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook. We are the internet is king. I saw a post where somebody went on his page and asked him why did he push Dr. Maddie like that. But the one thing that she said when she was talking to Twinkie, I absolutely agree as a mother. As a mother, you know your children. You know their strengths and their weaknesses. And it explained, because Twinkie looked at it as punishment that she took her everywhere with her. But she knew, one, that Twinkie was gifted, and two, that Twinkie was naive. And she proved it throughout the movie that she was naive, all the way to the point to where she had a nervous breakdown out of guilt. But, she knew her children. And at the end, she kind of talked about each one of them, but she knew her children. And mothers, we know our children. We know what they can handle and what they can't, even though when they think they know everything. And I'm going to tell you something, when my mother has never, she's 100 to 0, and I date 100 people, but she has never been wrong about a man, ever. She has never been wrong about a friend, ever. We have that sixth sense when it comes to our children, and you may not see it then, you may not believe it, you may rebel against it, you still do what you want to do anyway, but your mama is right. So I know my mama she was spot on. I mean, like scary spot on, to where it's like you almost don't even want to admit that she was right about what she thought about that person. So you only get one mama, and, kudos to Denise for taking care of her. And, what happened for a reason. It didn't sneak up on God, but kudos to that. Let me see. Karen, women, we are so, this is the second movie, Self-Made. This is the second movie about women and showing us how smart and intelligent we are, and how we can do anything we put our mind to it. And it's like, if you look at those women, even through all of the adversity they were going through every night, even if they were arguing backstage, they still found the courage and the oomph to go out there and sing. So, I mean, we are just strong and wise beyond belief. People have no idea what you've gone through. And that's why I put in there, you see my glory, but you don't know my story. And all of us have something that we have overcome, that we have persevered through. And boy, if we could just tell the story. I know I have. I could write a book, and one day I probably will. But people who know me know some things about the things that I've gone through, but you probably don't know everything. And what you know probably makes you shudder a little bit, like, dang, I didn't know she went through all of that. But just seeing the Clark sisters and seeing them being so transparent, knowing that they are on a worldwide stage, and that they aired their life out for you to see behind the glory, to see the real story. Kudos to them, because they have freed some people today. They have freed some people from, embarrassment and shame and being afraid to talk about the things that they have been through and talk about the past that brought them to where they are now. So now we're going to get to Miss Denise. Whew. Y'all, we all got a Denise. And if you don't have a Denise in your family, you probably Denise. Niecy. We're going to get to Niecy. I remember my grandmother on my dad's side. I mean, funerals bring out the best and the worst in people. It just does. It's not saying nothing about anybody or whatever. But we have personally experienced that in our family at a funeral, have somebody try to start something and really be like, look, we had to check them. And so I know how that feels, because it's like you're mourning at the same time, you're distraught, and then here comes this. And of course, y'all know how we are. We the detectives. Somebody has went and dug up the actual funeral, the footage from the funeral when she was up there talking. And actually even her son, I think Renee posted a video of her son saying, yeah, my mom did that. And, they did get into it afterwards and all that stuff. But it's like, there's a time and a place for everything. But the one thing that I want to say, the only thing that makes me, that was a true part of their past. That happened. And had they not had a shared that part of their life about the discord with Denise, somebody probably would have come out and said something about it anyway. So they didn't gloss over anything that they were, any of the parts that they were maybe ashamed or embarrassed about, because they obviously weren't ashamed about it because they talked about it. Right. And the thing, what it reminded me of too, yes, Karen, I just saw what you said. what it reminded me of too, it reminded me of Destiny's Child. And if you guys know the two people that were in Destiny's Child, they had a big falling out, and then Destiny's Child blew up, and then they still to this day say that they regret, leaving Destiny's Child. That's what it reminded me of. And I think Denise had issues. And I say this all the time, issues, it's you. Somewhere in her life, she felt small, and she played herself small because she was talented, and her mother kept giving her chance after chance. But that she just felt like that wasn't her ministry. She wanted to be out and about in the street or whatever she was doing. Don't know her personally, so I'm just speaking from what I saw in the movie. She wanted to be out and about, and you can't be lukewarm, because we see that all the time. We see, people that, are preaching on this day and clubbing on this day, and that will cause your brother to stumble. But she's human too. So the only thing that hurts me the most is that they are still separated. And so sometimes, I think I talked about this before when I talked about haters. Sometimes it's just best to let toxic people be separated from themselves, because she is a minister. She's a pastor of a church. And for her to be standing in a pulpit preaching the word and still be hating her sisters, we don't know all the ins and outs. But, that's not of God. So God is not the author of confusion. We don't know all the details. We don't know what happened. She may have had church hurt. She may have had something happen to her in church that, changed the way she viewed things. We don't know. So, but, I just hate that part, that even in death, that they couldn't pull it together. And like I said, we've experienced it in our family. I've seen other people experience it in their family. Sometimes death just doesn't do it. You would think it would be a wake-up call, but sometimes it's not. So, Shauna made this mug too. So, okay, Denise. We talked about Denise. No, there's nothing wrong with going dancing at all. But you know what I think it was, Karen? I think she was more conflicted. I really do, because if you notice, when her mother when they were at the breakfast table and her mother was talking to her, she still asked her if she was hungry afterwards. Your mama gonna love you no matter what. Your mother is gonna be the one person in the world that when you're just like the prodigal son, your mother and father, just like the prodigal son, when he went out and did all he wanted to do, his dad was still standing there with open arms to welcome him back. And so I don't think that they would not have accepted her back or whatever. I think that was something within her, because when we go so far to the left, we assume everybody's against us because we've already put that shield up. We've already put up our guard. So I don't think that either side gave each other a chance. And then the other part that broke my heart with them was when Dorinda told her, you make it hard to love you, and she goes, I've always loved y'all. And that was just like, oh. But anyway, as long as they still breathing, they got time to get it together. So maybe the movie will bring them together. Maybe we'll make them go further apart. I don't know. But I do know that she posted on Instagram or something that she had nothing to do with the movie and she never got a chance to tell her side. But who knows? Like I said. Thank you. I love my shirt. My shirt says "But God." I'm gonna tell you why I wore it in a little bit. But I love bling. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got the bling. So, all right, let's talk about Miss Twinkie. First of all, let me just say this before I move any further. I'm gonna tell you who the Clark sisters remind me of. The Clark sisters remind me of the Duffy Girls, because all of them are talented in their own right, and they can all sing. And their dad is a musician, and he expects perfection. He's our minister of music. That's who they remind me of. And Zornell, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're Karen. So I've always told you that you're Karen. So anyway, so let's talk about Miss Twinkie. This is what else I wanted to say about Karen. Not Karen. Denise. This is what I wanted to say about Denise. A hit dog will holler. My grandma always says you can always tell the child who did the least for their parents at a funeral, because they're the ones always hollering and falling over the casket and got something to say. And my grandma ain't gonna never steer you wrong, and she's right. She's exactly right. The person who feels the most guilt about something that their parents may not even have felt that way before they left this earth, but the person that feels the most guilt and maybe feel like they could have done more, they could have visited more, is the person that's showing out the most at the funeral. So I always say, hit dog will holler, and that's why Denise was tripping at the funeral. That's why she had to have her say, because she went all those years and hadn't seen her mother. And then also, here's something else I forgot. Even on her deathbed, she was still like, but I got 2 more girls, they on the way. Your mama loves you unconditionally. It, like I said before, it does not matter what you do. She was still hoping Twinkie and Niecy was going to come to her bedside. And when she was calling and checking on Twinkie and she wasn't able to get her, I really think, I don't know for sure, I don't know them, I'm just going by the movie, she grieved. She had a broken heart because she loved her some Twinkie, and just the simple fact that she knew Twinkie was out in the world and she had not equipped Twinkie to live without her. That's the other thing that I want to say. We need to raise our children to be able to live without us. We cannot have them so close to us and so under us that they're so naive, which brings me to Miss Twinkie Clark. Twinkie was just naive. This is the my mom always says, you got book sense but ain't got no common sense. Talented beyond measure. Look, songwriter, composer, could sing, could play the organ, could play the piano, but she didn't have any street sense. And sometimes when we are believers in Christ, we keep our children so far under us, we don't let them experience the world, and then the world eats them up. Because all of us have had that one friend that had a strict mama that was super strict, and we know that when they got out in the world, mothers and fathers had no idea what they were doing out there. And it always happens that way. The world kind of swallows them up, only for a minute, because they come back to themselves, but it swallows them up. And then it's like they have to find their way back. And I think that's what happened with Twinkie. And I did feel bad for Twinkie, because everybody else was experiencing life but her. She went everywhere with her mother. She started playing the organ when she was like 9. So she was her mama's right hand all that time. So she missed out on a lot of things. And they were like the Jacksons in that sense, but just like the gospel ones, because her mother expected perfection. One of the quotes she said was that we don't do good in this house. We don't do easy in this house. We do excellent. Excuse me. I love that, because that's how you should raise your children, to give their very best. But I was glad that Twinkie found her way back, and her sisters embraced her and took care of her, and that they're all back together. But we all have, everybody in their family, we all either know somebody in our family like that, or we are that person, to where they go through something, or they're naive, they're super smart, but they don't have common sense, or they leave, they never experience anything outside the church, and then they get out and they buck wild, and then they come back. We all, it's our story. It's our community story. Yeah, she was guilty, Marco. Okay, let's see what else I got, because I got a lot of stuff here. The one thing that I said about when Twinkie's fiance, or whatever he was going to be to her, he was her husband eventually. When he pushed down her mother, I thought about The Color Purple. I was like, till you do right by Dr. Maddie Moss Clark, ain't nothing good going to come to you. And that was the truth. They fell on hard times. That was, child, that just wouldn't happen. So the other thing I got from that is I just wrote down a lot of quotes that this movie brought to mind for me. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And I think Dr. Maddie had a knack for seeing through people, knowing who was best for them. Like they said, she okayed the other marriages because she knew that those men were going to take care of her daughters. But she knew that man for Twinkie meant her no good. So, and then, blended families are hard. Blended families are hard too. I'm in a blended family. I have 2 bonus children that I love as if I gave birth to them myself. And, when you are in a blended family, you have to work at it. It takes work and dedication. But I always look at it as, let me mute my computer, sorry. I always look at it as, if you love that person, you have to love their children. They're an extension of them. So you cannot say that you love somebody and then you mistreat their children, because that's not real love. Hey, Candy, the Ginsus, I cannot wait. Can you just like tentatively schedule me in May? I need my nails cut. I need everything done. Anyway, my feet horrible. So I'm glad to see you, Candy. Love you. So the other cliche or quote that I wanted to say that I got from this movie was that your gifts will make room for you. And now I'm going to go on to Karen. Who knew that Karen was shy? I laugh at this, and I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm not Karen for the singing part I'm Karen because I used to be so shy. I mean, really shy. You can ask my friends. I used to be quiet, except around them. When I got around people, that's kind of how my son is now. When I got around people that I knew and trusted, I was crazy, laughing all over the place. But anywhere else, I was super quiet. Who knew that Karen was shy? And I'm going to tell you why. Like I told y'all, I love the Clark sisters. I've been big fans of them forever. My niece and I used to have a joke about the Clark, my niece Monique. We used to have a joke about the Clark sisters all the time. Because we used to say that she's like, the Clark sisters like, okay, we're going to wear black and gold, to this concert. And everybody had their outfits out. And everybody agreed. And then Karen come out and she got bold constrictor feathers and gold sequins all down here. And she going to sing and do a million runs. But who knew that her mother brought that out of her, that she really did not want to be in the forefront. And her voice is simply amazing. But, you would never, that's why I said you see the glory, but you don't know the story. You would never know from seeing her now that she was that shy little girl then. So I always say that too, because like if people tell me, invite me to somewhere, I'm like, I'm going to come how I'm going to come. So yes, I'm going to be overdressed, but that's me. So like I went to Darnell Jones's birthday party and I was fully dressed in a sequin skirt and everything. And Sonia Starks was like, really, Tammy, to a house party? I'm like, but she said I could dress up. She said date night. She was like, but that's not everybody else's date night. So I'm going to do me. So Karen going to do Karen and Tammy going to do Tammy. So I just thought that was funny. So let's see what else. Maddie, I put down that Maddie grieved Twinkie leaving. And I loved how at the end, right before she passed away, how she told them what their gifts were. And that's exactly what they're doing now when she said that Dorinda was her preacher and her Maddie Moss Jr. and the oldest daughter was her rock and Denise was her rock. I mean, is it Denise? Niecy? No. Niecy wasn't there. But how she just said what each one of them were. And it was just, hey, Candace. That was just, like I said, a mother knows their children and they know what their strengths and weaknesses are. And we all have been there, done that, to where we didn't want to listen to our moms and had to come back and say, you were right, whether we never told them they were right or not. But had to come back and grovel a little bit because the man that they told you wasn't no good, or the friend that they told you wasn't your true friend wasn't, or you was somewhere you weren't supposed to be and they figured it out. All of that. Mamas always know. So, now back to this preacher. I just want to ask and see if I can get some comments that why do we as a community feel so embarrassed about talking about the bad parts of our life? Because we all know nobody has a perfect life. Like, nobody. If they do, they're lying. Like, nobody can say that they have went through life unscathed of something. So like when her husband was beating her or abusing her, I don't know, I mean, I'll say abusing her mentally and physically, because the mental always starts first, because he verbally abused her. He verbally tried to cut her down. Been there, done that. Then the physical abuse followed. Been there, done that. So it took me a long time to even tell anybody that I was going through that. And it's like, why as a community do we put on this whole facade that everything is perfect? I just want to know what y'all think about that. I think that this movie, the reason why I said that earlier, this movie helped a lot of people, and it especially helped a lot of church people. It helped a lot of first ladies. It helped a lot of talented, gifted singers, a lot of musicians, a lot of choir directors, anybody that holds a position in the church. To me, it almost encouraged them to just be them. God knows everything about you and accepts you exactly as you are. And everything that you have, all those gifts, he gave them to you. So he knew what you would struggle with. He knew what you would go through and what you would have to endure to be able to share your gifts with the world. So I think it's just a stigma that our community has, that we sweep stuff under the rug, or what happens here stays here. So let me just see. Hi, Carlotta. I'm just curious as to why we do that. And hopefully this helps you, especially now since we're quarantined. We're all on the same level playing field. Nobody has more than the next person. Nobody's spending any money. Nobody's going anywhere. Nobody's wearing designer. Nobody's, doing nothing. We're all on the same level field, hoping and praying we get out of this and are better for it, and that, we can adjust to the new normal. So this is our time to regroup, I think, and, be honest with ourselves, I should say, instead of trying to put on airs. That's the word I'm going to use, put on airs. Just be you. You're you because God made you that way. And if he had made somebody else like you, he doesn't need both of you. So now that I see Tammy out here, I want to say this. When she was throwing that shoe at them when they were messing up, I don't know if any of my classmates are on here, but we used to have this teacher in 5th grade. Her name was Miss Harris. And Miss Harris used to throw stuff. When we would get an answer wrong in science class, she used to throw stuff at us. Karen, did you have Miss Harris? I don't know if Karen is still on here, but she would take chalk. She would throw chalk. She would throw erasers. She would throw everything at us. And hey, Gwen, Gwen, did you have Miss Harris in 5th grade? But anyway, she would throw stuff at us. She would bite her hand because she wanted us to get it. And we had a minister of music, Tammy's mom. She would throw a hymn book because she expected perfection. And the thing is, people like that are gifted and know how to bring the best out of people, they know what you're capable of. And when you don't give it to them, they get frustrated. So it's like they take it out on you because they know what you could do, and they wouldn't expect it of you. They wouldn't ask it of you if they didn't know you could deliver it. Oh yeah, Miss A. Thomas. Oh my God. Gwen, yes. We had another teacher, Miss A. Thomas. Oh my God. She same thing. She used to throw things at us, everything. And she used to say, like, if we answer something, if she asked us something and we answered it wrong, she would just, she would be chewing on her glasses. That was the other thing she did too, Gwen. She would say, "You are absolutely wrong." She would just say it with such venom. But those teachers developed us. Like we had teachers, Mr. Sheriff. I'm going back home now. We had teachers, Mr. Sheriff. They expected the best out of us, and you know what? I'm better for it. I can just think back. All those poems that I quote to you guys, Mr. Sheriff had us memorize those. So, but they saw something in us, and they knew we could do it. And they didn't really bother the kids that weren't really trying to really get an education. They focused in on us, right, Gwen? They focused in on us because they knew that we could do it and what we were capable of. And I love that about Dr. Clark. I love that about her. She had a gift. She could find a gift. And the other thing that I thought was funny and cute in the movie was absolutely amazing. For those of you who are just coming, if you have not seen it, you need to watch the story about the Clark sisters on Lifetime. The other thing that I loved is when Twinkie took Master Blaster from Stevie Wonder and made it into You Brought the Sunshine. She was way before Kirk Franklin and all of them. Everybody thinks Kirk Franklin was the one to do crossover. The Clark sisters were the one to do crossover. And what I loved is when they snickered and said that their mom didn't even know what she was listening to. Sometimes you can't be so caught up into the world, you don't even know what your kids are doing. And I'm like that now. Like, I'll be listening to music, like Josh and my grandchildren will be playing music, and I'll be like, who is that? Or I'll hear something that I'm so far removed from that type of music, I don't even know where it is. So I get it that Dr. Clark had no clue where the beat from You Brought the Sunshine came from, because a lot of stuff, like all this stuff y'all doing, songs to some of the stuff on TikTok, I have never heard those songs before. And sue me. Oh yeah, Pam, I love that too, that she wanted them to have one voice. She didn't want one to overpower the other. She wanted them to be in sync. I love that too about her, and she expected perfection. And when they brought her the song You Brought the Sunshine, she said, y'all gonna have it together. That's what was most important to her, is that the focus is on the ministry and not the ladies. Yep, intervening visionary. That's exactly it, Tammy. Your mom was a visionary. She could just spot, like how she spotted Frank to play Jesus in the play, and handpicked everybody she wanted to sing and stuff. She got that. That's a gift. That is a complete gift from God, that, you know, you can see the best in people even when they don't see it in themselves. There's a song about that. He saw the best in me when everyone else around could only see the worst in me. That is a true gift of a visionary. But so here's the other thing that I wanted to say about it too. I'm almost done. This is the other thing that touched me too, when she kept saying, y'all some pretty girls. Y'all some pretty girls. Look at my girls. Y'all some pretty girls. She was pouring into them. No man had to tell them how beautiful they were, because mama told them every day, all the time, how beautiful they were. I love that. Celebrate your children. I know y'all want to kill them right now on lockdown. But, you know, pour into them. Don't just tell them what they're doing wrong. Tell them what they're doing right. Yeah, she woke them up at 4 a.m. She made them sing. She was honing in on them, but she poured into them, you know, telling them how beautiful they were and how their voices were. She told Karen she could do it. I believe in you. I know you can do it. It's just something about when my mother tells me I look nice. It's just like, I'm just like, my mama like what I got on, you know? So it's just pour into your children. And, you know, as fathers too, it's just so good for fathers to encourage their children, not just discipline them all the time, but encourage them as well, so that they can go out into this world and not be seeking that from somebody else. And somehow Denise or Nisi, she missed that. Because she said, you know, I got the scraps. Somehow she felt left out, you know, and we don't know the whole story. But, you know, like I said, every family has those types of dynamics. You're right, Gwen. I always say, encourage yourself. And look, my grandma say this: if you a poor dog that won't wag your own tail, and if you know, feel confident in yourself, the world cannot tear you down. It goes with this saying, this joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. So you have to validate yourself and believe in yourself first, because if you are seeking validation from other people, you will always be lost. You will never be enough. You will always be searching for that next compliment, that next review or whatever. But if you know in your heart that you have given your all and you have done the best that you can in the eyes of God, be good with that. Because just like this movie, and this is my last point, you got to start over. Girl, Zarina, I was talking about y'all in here too. I said that Trinell and the girls remind me of the Clark sisters and Dr. Clark. Mothers can see your fault and build your confidence at the same time. That's what they do. That's what they're there. That's what we're here for as mothers. We're not here to sugarcoat everything, to make everything seem like it's roses and butterflies. We're here to tell you, correct you too, because the Bible says if you don't correct your children, you don't love them. So that's exactly what she was doing with Twinkie. She was trying to correct her, but Twinkie was trying to go get her groove on, y'all. So, thank you. I dressed up today. This is my tribute to. I tried to dress up like the Clark sisters in their last performance when they had on the black and rhinestones. So I thought I would put this on, put my little shirt on that Shauna made me. So, but the other thing that I wanted to say too about movies is that y'all, we can't just watch something and just feel all good and fuzzy inside. And I'm guilty of it too. We fact checked everything. Did y'all fact check Tiger King? Did anybody go and fact check any of the craziness on Tiger King? I didn't. It was crazy enough for me. But I have seen so many people trying to dispute, just like they did on Self-Made. They're fact checking the Clark sisters and stuff. So don't do that. Let's see what else we got. Oh, okay. So I want to talk about the song Blessed and Highly Favored. Oh, I'm trying to reason. I want to talk about the song Blessed and Highly Favored. We praise dance to that song. And this is what else I want to say. I saw it on a post. Somebody kept asking what happened to Karen, and what happened to her mom. I don't know if you guys have watched Unsung, but Dr. Maddie Moss Clark had diabetes. So that is what she ended up getting, her leg amputated, and she had diabetes. That's why the oldest sister was on her about what she was eating. But Karen had gastric bypass surgery that went wrong, and that's why she was in a coma. She did say that when she was on Unsung, that she had gastric bypass. And no, I think she said it. They used to have a reality show with her and Kiki, and she said she had gastric bypass surgery. So from that she wrote the song Blessed and Highly Favored. And that's why I wanted to wear this shirt that said But God, because But God. And it's like that is why too I titled this You See My Glory But You Don't Know My Story, because when somebody writes heartfelt songs like that or heartfelt poems, there's some pain and triumph behind it. There's a testimony behind it. And if you listen to the words of that song, Tammy, I love that song too. That's one of my favorite praise dance songs that we minister. And as soon as the church doors open and it's our chance to minister, that's what we're going to minister. The other song that I love by Karen Clark Sheard and Helen Campbell, one of my best friends, she leads this song. It's God Is Here. And I'm going to say some of the words to that. But that is one of my favorite songs. And anybody that's on our praise dance ministry will tell you that I'm always wanting to minister. And they're like, no, we not going to do it again. But the song says, He brought me through hard trials. He brought me through tribulations. Never let a day go by and not realize, had not been for the Lord who was on my side. Back was against the wall. He looked out for me. He heard my cry and rescued me. Never let a day go by and not realize we are blessed. Don't take it for granted that we are here today. Just know that we're blessed and highly favored. And I thought that was the perfect ending to that movie, because that's what Derek goes. He goes, they have to end with blessed and highly favored. But I mean, I love You Brought the Sunshine. I love Is My Living in Vain? But if you really think about what we're going through right now, the words of that song will ring so true when this is all over. He's going to bring us through hard trials, and he's going to bring us through the tribulations. And we should never let a day go by and not realize if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side. So that should be our theme song as we get through this quarantine, that just know that we're blessed and highly favored. And then it goes into, which this is my favorite part of the song and our praise dance. It could have been me. It should have been me. It would have been me if it wasn't for the blood. Ugh. Child, y'all, look, let me stop before I start running up in here. I absolutely love that song. That is one of my favorite songs. And I'm telling y'all, that is our theme song for this COVID-19 safe at home quarantine. Grace and mercy kept us. That's why I think this movie, the timing was perfect. It restored hope. It restored joy. And it let us all know that you are not alone. And whatever you go through, it let me know. It's like I try to be as transparent with anybody. Yeah, anybody that knows me knows I will share all the ups, downs, ins and outs, all the tears and all the joy, only because all of that had to happen to get me to today. So had one thing had to change or went any way different, I wouldn't be sitting here. So I just encourage all of you to don't be embarrassed or be ashamed about the things that God has brought you through, because that is your testimony and he wants the glory. And how will you give him the glory if you're afraid to share it with other people? One day I'll write a book. One day I'll sit down. I jot down notes. I jot down things. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I cry tears of joy when I look how far I've come, or look at everything that I've been through. And to me, that was what this movie said. Yes, thank you, Tiffany. It takes sunshine and rain. And just the other day when I was on the prayer line, we were saying it rains on the just as the unjust. Just because things happen to you does not mean that God has forsaken you. It could, just like they said, sometimes a storm comes to clear your path. It does not come to destroy you. And that's what I really believe about all of this that we're going through right now. It's coming to clear our paths. We have turned so far away from what we need to be focused on, and that's God, his word, your ministry, your calling. And now, like I said, we're all on the same level playing field. And if the Clark sisters didn't teach us anything, they taught us that you can be up here, singing for the Lord, praising the Lord, ministering, and dealing with all of this in the background. And it's still okay. It's still okay. And, but it's not okay to sweep it under the rug. It's not okay to be okay with a minister beating his wife and still getting in the pulpit. And it's just that movie. I'm telling y'all, it's going to help a lot of people. Oh, you're welcome, Carlotta. I'm trying to read my comments over here because I can't see them on my thing, because I was trying to be cute with my little glasses on today. But it's going to help a lot of people. And so I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you embraced it. And kudos to them for just having the courage and the strength to share everything, to share their ups, their downs, the joys, the sunshine and rain, heartache and pain. And then, like they said, Jesus brought the sunshine. So if Jesus brought the rain, he's going to bring the sunshine. And so I love the movie. I hope you all watched it and enjoyed it. I would love to hear what you thought about it. But those are my 2 cents on it. I was just jotting down notes. I couldn't wait to share. Oh, thank you, Gwen. Gwen, remember we used to go to work together and everything. Yes, I love you, Gwen. We have known each other forever. That's my forever friend too, Gwen Taylor. We used to ride. Remember we used to ride in my mama's car we called the Dollar to work. She'd pick us up and take us to work. We have so many stories. Like, y'all, listen, I ain't nobody, but I have an amazing testimony from whence I came, from Locust Street to Letitia to public housing, everything. I mean, I'm sure we all have some testimony that we can share with the world. And you never know who your testimony is going to help. Because I can give you a perfect example. I've mentioned before, I was in an abusive marriage before. I don't know if I mentioned it on here, but I'm saying it now. And I remember that my girlfriend, who lives in Kentucky, had a friend that she worked with down there that was going through that. And she asked me if I would call her and talk to her. Now, I could be like, why are you telling that girl my business? But I thought maybe I went through it to help her. And I was really able to help her. And I was just like, oh my God, like this lady listened to me. I was really able to help her. And so then I thought to myself, then it wasn't for naught, because everything had to happen that way in order for me to be able to minister to someone else. So sometimes the things that you go through are to develop you. The storms come to clear your path. They didn't come to destroy you. Yes, Tammy. And no matter what, they put God first. So I wanted to say a couple of quotes that I missed them on here. One of them was, I cracked up when she said, when her sister came to the door and she had on the pants and she closed the door in her face. She was like, I don't care what those, wait a minute. Let me see what it was. I don't remember. If you guys remember what it was, she was like, I don't care what them knowing God people at your job doing. I thought that was so funny, because my mom used to say that. Didn't your mom used to tell you that if your friend jump off a bridge, you gonna jump too? you do you. And that, she was developing character in them. You're not the people at your job. You're sanctified and set apart. You're different. And so therefore you got to carry yourself different. And so I'm sure people at her job probably thought, how come you don't never wear pants? Or how come you don't never swear? Or how come you don't ever listen to music? Listen to this. Or how come you don't do this? It set her apart. You're a royal priesthood, a chosen people. And I've had people ask me that. Like, everybody at my job knows, like, if something goes wrong, they call me, Tammy, can you pray? Or, we need help on this. So I've never Bible thumped anybody at work, at corporate, I've never Bible thumped them. But they see the Christ in you. And that is what she was saying. Them non-believing people down at your job, they can wear pants, but there's Christ in you. You're set apart. You're different. Let's see what you're nosing. Yeah, she said, that's what she said. She said they wear pants, probably smoking reefer. Oh, that tickled me so much. That's something that my grandma or my mom, well, my mom probably would say, that's something my grandma would say, because my grandma used to say, ain't nothing open after midnight but legs. I'm sure y'all's parents used to say that. They all had some crazy sayings about stuff like that. And now that you're older, you chuckle about it. But it wasn't funny to you then. But it's funny to you now because it's true. It's true. But yeah, that's what she said. The next thing y'all be smoking reefer or something, she said. So anyway, what time is it? Oh my God, it's 8:03. Yeah, yeah. I saw that your mom would say that. Our moms had some funny sayings. But I just wanted to encourage y'all tonight. I want to encourage you to please sit y'all butts down somewhere and stay at home so we can go outside and play with each other. And boy, when we finally do get back in the church house, whoo, what a time. So, but we have to be obedient. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Just stay in the house, for the next couple of weeks. Order your food to be delivered. If you are not an essential worker, don't go out so that we can, start the curve going downward and we can get this party started again. And Margot, I'm so glad to see you on here, girlfriend. I'm glad you're doing good. Tell Josiah I said hi. Excuse me. We were praying for you. And everybody is not succumbing to the COVID-19 coronavirus. People are thriving and surviving. The Duffy family is doing wonderful. I don't know if you guys saw their live. Margot is doing just fine. So, the devil is a lie. Do not let him have you in fear, thinking that, unfortunately, some people are not going to make it. They have underlying health issues or what have you. But that is not necessarily going to be your story. And share your testimony. Do not be ashamed if you have it. share your testimony with someone so that you can help and encourage them. So let's see. So that's all I have. Kudos to you, to the Clark sisters. I hope y'all come out with another album. Give us something else to praise dance to. But we got Blessed and Highly Favored on deck. We're going to be ready for it because he's going to bring us through these hard trials and he's going to bring us through these tribulations. And we're going to know that we are blessed and highly favored. Amen. All right. See y'all later. Thanks for joining me tonight. And we'll see you next week. Oh, next week, I think I'm going to go back in the closet and style some more outfits. So since I cannot be out, I'm wearing the same pajamas. I got a whole thing of pajamas. Every time I put on some, my husband's like, is that new? It's like people gave me pajamas for Christmas years ago that I never wore. Well, I'm wearing them all now. But today I got dressed up. This is my shirt that says, But God. And I forgot to tell you the reason I have it on. I have it on because I wanted to look like the Clark sisters when they sung Blessed and Highly Favored, because they had on bling and black. but God, but by the grace of God, there go I. So I am here only because of God, but God. And so we will continue to say that. We will continue to praise his name. And we will say, but God, when all of this is over, and share our testimonies with everybody. So that's all I have. Good night. So next week, I'm going to be back in the closet with some quarantine clothes, some quarantine outfits. Not necessarily for while we're in quarantine, but when we come out. So, I'll see y'all later next week. Be blessed. Bye.